everyone. Hello, hello. Thanks for tuning in once again to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah. All right, so please make sure you get the likes up. You can't share because this is for members only, okay? But please get those likes up and let's get ready to get into it. All right. Okay, so hello, Emma's blessed. That crazy bitch Aries is doing her nails. All right, Claudette. Jonah is in here. Hundia. All right, so let's get into it, Deronda. I see you, beloved. Everyone, please get the likes up. Let's go ahead and get it started. Some of our members are a little bit late. Shout out to Hundia holding it down because I don't see the rest of the moderators. All right. And so with that all being said, we don't really need moderators in here too much because we don't have trolls and things that we have to deal with, right? Okay, so with that all being said, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to be talking about are you spiritually dead today? Okay, and spiritual murder. How some people allow others to, unfortunately, kill their spirit. All right. So thank you, Hundia, beloved. Desmond said, I'm here. All right, Desmond, shout out to you. Now, with that all being said, how many of you in here, by a show of ones in the chat, how many of you in here have ever had someone around you that you felt like they were killing your spirit, or you had to deal with something like a job, something that you weren't thrilled with or whatever, but you had to do it for whatever reason, and it made you feel as though it was killing your spirit? Let's talk about it. One's in the chat. So nobody, I know somebody's up in here lying, okay? Okay, there we go. Because I know that I had a job once, it was so nefarious, and the people working there were so toxic, and I just couldn't deal with it. And I told a friend of mine, I said, I have to quit. I have to find me somewhere else to go for employment because this job is literally killing my spirit. When you find yourself waking up in the morning to get dressed and ready for work, and you just want to, you just feel like downtrodden. You feel like you don't want to go there. You dread the thoughts. It's like such a task, such a chore to get yourself there. And you have low energy the entirety of the time you're there. And you only feel good when you look up at the clock and you see this to like 5 more minutes for you to get off. Okay? That's likely killing your spirit. So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. So let's talk about it. Are you guilty? Because here's the thing. Some of us allow people to murder our spirits, to kill our spirits, to steal our joy. But, some of us are the ones that do those things to others. So are you guilty of spiritual murder? Are you guilty of killing someone's spirit? Let's talk about it. Let me put on my spectacles. Put on my spectacles real quick. Hold on, beloveds. This is some small print. I typed this up in, I want to say I typed it up in 12 times Roman, I think. But it's awfully small. All right, so let's talk about it. How do you spiritually murder someone, and is it as bad as physical murder? Now, thou shalt not kill is how the King James Version of the Bible renders it in Deuteronomy, the 5th chapter and verse 17. The New World Translation says, you must not murder. And most people think of physical murder when reading these verses, of course. But have you ever thought about how this could apply to your spiritual senses also? Because remember, the Bible is a book of metaphysical information and esoteric information. So things aren't always to be taken literally. Now, we know you shouldn't go out here killing anybody physically either. But keep in mind that because the Bible is a book of consciousness, all right, and it tells us about, tapping into our higher selves, it's talking about that as well. Your spiritual murder, okay? As someone who is a whole spirit killer, all right? Debbie Downers is what some of us call them. Some of them are just pessimistic people who never have anything good or beneficial to say. Their sole purpose is to drain and suck the life out of you. That's why we call them psyche vampires. And in doing so, they like to tell you negative things, tell you can't do certain things, try to talk you out of your goals and ambitions. And that's usually because they're not doing anything themselves. Because I want you all to pay attention to something. When you look at people that hate on you, hold on, let's see. Hundia says, I had a Jamaican manager that would try me and disrespect me on a daily. Isn't that something? You see, some people don't know how to respect others because they don't, in fact, respect themselves. Some people are miserable, walking around with their misery on their shoulder, and you know that grief pulls you down. Okay, the pull of gravity when you are grieving, or you're carrying a burden, when you are carrying a grudge, and all of those things just all low vibrational, and you have to rise above it. But people that are happy, they don't tend to hate on people. You ever notice that? People that are living their best life, who are having the job that they want, the career they desire, that are making money, that are riding around in nice cars and just living to the best of their ability and happy with themselves. They're not the ones going around here hating. And we laughed about Corey Holcomb on the other broadcast on the other channel. But when you think about what he said about ugly people, that you need security from ugly people. Because ugly people always want to be doing something low down and nefarious. This is all true. And I'm not talking about physically ugly, because you can be beautiful in the face, but low down, dirty, and quite frankly, ugly in your spirit, and the bowels and the depths of your soul and your mind and your heart. And so people who are ugly, yes, they go around wreaking havoc because they are miserable. All right. And that's what it is. And like I said, we're not just talking about the physical appearance. I'm more so talking about the inward of a person. All right, Queen, he was really miserable, and I tried my best to avoid him, and he would work his way over to my station. He wanted to work his way over to your station because he wanted to absorb your energy. He wanted to suck and drain the energy out of you. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted you to stoop to his low vibrational level. When we were children, when someone would do something to us, and then we want to lash out and return fire, and then your parents might tell you, or someone older might say, no, don't stoop to their level. Did you ever wonder what that really means? Don't stoop to their level? Well, that means don't be low vibrational like them. Okay? Don't stoop to low vibrational levels. I think I have that printed on one of my shirts on my Spreadshirt site. I think I have a shirt for my spiritual sayings. I think I have one of those on there that says, don't stoop, or I don't stoop to low vibrational levels. Okay? And I don't entertain no devils. Please pay attention. All right? And you have to rise above your emotions, because you see, some people, they act as provocateurs. They come to argue and just to try to keep up mess and make you feel bad and low down and just downtrodden and all of that. They want to make you feel miserable about yourself, because in fact, they're miserable. It's not a lie when they say misery loves company. Please pay attention. Now, let's get back into it. So spiritually murdering someone is just as bad as physically murdering them. In fact, in some cases, it can be worse, because the person has to continue trying to live while all the time they're dead on the inside. You ever see people that walk around like a zombie? Like they don't know which way they're going. They don't know if they're coming or going. And they're just always so pessimistic. They always feel bad. They always have complaints and gripes. Sometimes this is because someone has killed them spiritually. Someone has done so much dirt to them. Let me give you an example. A woman who was battered and abused physically and verbally by a no good man, or a man by a no good woman, because men are also, beaten up by their women, some of them. Some of these men are abused by women as well. And, it doesn't always have to be physical, like putting paws on someone, but in some cases, it can be saying harsh, low down words to people, talking crazy to people, making people feel bad about themselves. What I find interesting is the fact that, we go to work. Some of us go to work and we deal with bosses we can't stand and coworkers we don't like. But rather than go off on them, because we know we need that job, right? We know we need to make our coins. So we'll sit there and we'll entertain them with fake smiles and talking all nice and sweet to them, knowing we don't mean it. But then as soon as we get home, we talk to our spouse or our mates, and we just tell them all of the BS that we had to endure while we at work. We were at work for those 8 hours. But then when that same person that we're confiding all of this to, when they do something to tick us off, to get on our nerves, to annoy us, then we talk to them crazy. Now, the question is, how come some of us can exercise the same amount of restraint with the ones that we love as the ones we do that we have to work for and with? Did you ever ask yourself that? Because some of us be so flippant, just go off on the people that we say we love and care about, hurt their feelings, talk about them like a dog, say all sorts of things to them, and then feel bad about it later and want to apologize and hoping that they'll just accept it and keep going on like nothing's happened. You see, that only works for so long. That only works for so long, because what you realize, or what you should realize, is that when you say negative, hateful, mean things to someone, whether it's an argument or whatever, when you say those things to someone, don't you know that it sticks? Remember the science experiment that I told you the Japanese doctor did, and I showed you the video of how he was talking positive to the water, the rice in the jar with the water, and then negative to the other, and then ignoring the third, and the third was cloudy after 30 days. The one with the negativity that he's spoken to, it was black, and then the other one looked perfectly normal because he spoke positivity into it. You see, that should let you know that your words are energy, electromagnetic energy. I told you that numerous of times. So when you're talking low down to someone and saying hateful, mean things, it's only so many times that you can say, I'm sorry, before they just get sick and tired of it. Because here's the thing, saying I'm sorry doesn't fix it. You have to change the action. The behavior has to be checked. You have to change the behavior. If you're still going to be talking crazy and cursing people out and making them feel bad about themselves, well, I'm sorry, it's not going to cut it. And what you do is you start to fill that person up with darkness, and that darkness turns to resentment, and that resentment turns into hate. And then what do you have besides a ruined relationship because of your own toxicity? That's what you have. All right. Dorada says, facts, Queen. I had one like that, and I put in my 2-week notice after being there for 17 years. Okay. Honey, I never worked on anybody's job for 17 years. That's a long time. My sister's been at hers for 20 plus. But I'm going to tell you what, at the end of the day, some people will drive you to drink if you allow them to. Some people will drive you to drink if you allow them to. And here's the thing about these toxic people who go around killing other people's spirits and all these things. See, this is why you have people that turn to alcohol and start abusing drugs. Because very often, sometimes these people, they are dead inside because they've been so mistreated, so verbally abused, physically abused in some cases. But their spirit has been broken, and now they don't even want to live in the reality that they're in. So they turn to drugs to escape reality. And I know what I'm talking about because I've dealt with people who were drug addicted, and I've talked to them and asked them, well, how did you become addicted to drugs? Didn't you know that using drugs was toxic? Didn't you know that it was unhealthy, that it makes you act out of character? Didn't you know that it can take your life? And they know these things. And I said, well, why would you engage in doing drugs? And every single time they would say it was to escape reality. Now, on this channel, we know that there is no escape from reality in real life, because in fact, you can take drugs, drink liquor, do whatever you want to do to try to escape reality. But the bottom line is, when it comes down, when you come down off that high, when you're no longer drunk and the alcohol wears off, you're right back in reality. You're right back in reality. You're stuck in it. And so the best thing to do, in my opinion, let me put this phone on Do Not Disturb real quick. The best thing for you to do in that case is to start trying to manifest and create your own reality, which you absolutely can do. And the main way to do that is to not allow others to talk you out of your goals, ambitions, and dreams. Okay? Deronda said it was a revolving door for managers. I bet it was. I bet it was. Okay, now so let's continue. So with that all being said, now there was an article that I read about spiritual suicide, basically talking about, you know, how someone just gives up hope on themselves. You know, they just lose faith in family and friends. They feel isolated, alone, abandoned, like no one's there for them. And they just really just don't want to continue on because they feel so bad about themselves. Now, some people physically take themselves out of here, which is so very sad because in my opinion, when people start doing stuff like that, I absolutely believe that's the influence of demons. I absolutely believe that that is the influence of Satan and his minions. Okay, what does the Bible say? The devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That's absolutely true. See, but the difference is, or the thing is, some people don't have discernment, or shall I say, they don't use discernment, because I think everyone has it. It's gut instinct, it's intuition. I think everyone has it. Some people don't tap into it. Some people don't understand it and don't recognize it. And so when they have these thoughts about doing nefarious things to themselves, well, very often, it's because they're not using the discernment that they in fact have. That's what that is. They're not using their discernment. But let's continue. Now, when we spiritually murder someone, we kill that person's desire. We take away their enthusiasm for reaching their lifetime goals or their true potential. We do this when we are downtrodden ourselves, like I said, when we're in misery, when we're grieving, when we're angry, we're upset, things aren't going right in our lives. That's what some of us do. Now, I don't do that. I don't know about you all, but I don't do that because one thing that I know is this. When I get on my lives every day and talk to you all, you always see me happy, laughing, and cheerful. And that's the way you'll always see me. Because at the end of the day, I don't like sometimey people. Sometimey people, you know what they tend to do? When they're in a good mood, then they'll be nice to you. But when they're in a bad mood, now they want to have a problem with you. Okay, they want to talk down on you or to you. That's what people do when they're sometimey people. And I don't have time for it. I remain the same all the time. Well, not literally all the time. But what I mean is I try to treat people in a manner that is respectful. And I try to treat people the same all the time. No, I'm not going to be smiling with you today and then going off on you tomorrow because I'm having a bad day. Now, of course, if you do something, say something disrespectful, and I have to roast you now and again, you know, that's totally different. But I'm saying when people are being respectful to me, I'm going to be respectful to them no matter what type of mood I'm in, because I have learned and trained myself and disciplined myself to not react out of emotion and to not allow myself to let my emotions control me and my thoughts and behaviors. You see, I alone control my own emotions. And you know what people tend to do? Those people that cannot, in fact, control their emotions, what they tend to do is they try to blame it on everybody else. Well, if you hadn't said this, I wouldn't have done this. If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have said this. That's all a load of BS because you're responsible. You alone control how you act or react to different things. Dorada said, my niece took herself out in 2019. She made a long, what is that, FaceTime? I'm sorry to hear that, beloved. That's very sad. That crazy rich Eric said, Queen had to roast today, child. Yes, I absolutely did. You know, there's always somebody that wants to try to get out of pocket. I don't know why they keep trying it. I don't even know why they keep trying to. Deronda, beloved, my condolences to you for your niece. I know it's 2019, but I still send my condolences. And you know the sad thing about someone taking themselves out of here is because usually when people do that, like I said, I believe it's the work of Satan and his minions putting these thoughts and influence in people's minds. And people don't understand, you know, when they're not using their discernment, they think it's their own thoughts. They think that's their own mind telling them that. But no, the devil can enter your mind and your consciousness. Just like I told you, the Most High enters your mind and consciousness, so can the devil. Let's not forget how the devil mimics what God does at the end of the day. So you just have to be very careful of how you perceive things because perception is reality. And the last thing anyone should be doing is taking a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Troubles don't last always, and when things are going bad, as they sometimes will, at the end of the day, Another day is coming. You have another chance. As long as the sun rises, as long as you wake up and open your eyes in the morning, you have another chance and you have another choice. And it's just so sad that people feel so bogged down with grief and depression and so stressed out and strained and so isolated and alone that they want to take themselves out of here. That's very sad. I hate to hear it. I really hate to hear that. The first time I knew of someone doing that to themselves was a girl that I was friends with since I was like in the second grade. We got in high school and she took her own life. And it was all so sad and very, very hard to deal with. Okay? Very hard to deal with. And it's even more so sad when we hear that children do these things to themselves. And some people think, children don't know about problems and things like that. Yes, they do. Children are nothing more than little people. Okay, nothing more than little people. And children can feel downtrodden and depressed and sad and all of that too. And sometimes they want to take themselves out. Remember the story I told you all about Seven, the little boy Seven? I had his mother on the show. Oh, very sad. You can't let these demons trick you. Now, with that all being said, has anyone ever shared their plans for achieving their dreams and goals and you scoffed at it, saying that it couldn't be done without even offering them an alternative plan? Or has anyone ever done that to you? Once in the chat. Now, I know those of you that have done it, you're not going to fess up to that. But if anyone's ever done that to you, you told them what your goals and dreams are, but yet they sit there and just try to talk you out of it. You know that's not going to happen. How you think you're going to do that? You don't even have enough money. You're too old. You should have done that a long time ago. Why would you do that? And just saying all of these things to make you doubt yourself. You cannot listen to these people because sometimes, most of the time, these people are nothing more than haters. Sometimes they have good intentions, but just don't know how to verbalize it. Sometimes they say things that come out the wrong way and they really don't mean any harm, but some of them absolutely mean harm. But at the end of the day, the choice is up to you. You cannot let people talk you out of your goals and ambitions. This is your life. And we have parents out here trying to get their kids to do things because they want to live vicariously through them. It's okay as a parent to want the best for your children. But at the end of the day, when your children become adults, they should be free to make their own choices in life without feeling, bad because the parents are coming down on them, telling them what they're not and what they should be and all of that. Some parents just won't let their children just, live in peace. Because they made mistakes, we all do. And then they want to, like I said, vicariously live through their children. If it was something they didn't accomplish in their youth, now they want to put that on the children to make them do it. That's how some parents are. And when you do those things, little do they know, in many cases, you're just hurting the person. You're making them feel bad about themselves. You're showing them that you don't care or respect how they truly feel. It's okay to give advice, but don't pressure someone or try to talk someone out of their goals because you want them to do what you want them to do. And that is how some parents absolutely are. And then, like I said, when people are trying to talk you out of your goals and ambitions, if they don't have an alternative plan that sounds as good, if not better than the first, they need to sit down somewhere and you should tell them just that. Now, has anyone ever shared their plans for success with you and you wish them the best to their face, but secretly you hope they failed? I mean, being a whole hater, how many of you have been haters? Raise your hands. Can I get a witness? Okay, let the church say amen. Some of y'all know you've been hating. Some of you know that you have been guilty of hating. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Put your ones in the chats. Put your ones in the chat, nefarious ones. Put your ones in the chats. That crazy bitch Eris is letting it all hang out, telling all the truth. That crazy bitch Eris said, I've hated. That crazy bitch Eris said, I ain't gonna lie. Bless your heart, beloved. It's okay. It's okay. That's right. You're human. Okay? Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, if you ever hated on anyone for any reason, don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed, because everybody does something nefarious once or twice in their lives. Some of y'all, quite frankly, do it every day. You can't help your little low down selves. Okay? But at the end of the day, here's the thing. With change, there comes growth. Or shall I say, with growth, there comes change. Okay? Doesn't mean you're a bad person. We all make mistakes, but you have a chance and a choice to redeem yourself. Okay? That's all it takes. That crazy bitch Eric said, not like wig, though. Honey, I hope not. Okay, Claudette said, I've learned better. Nancy X said, we're all human. Absolutely. It's okay. Because here's the thing. The first rule of accountability is admission. When you do something wrong and you know you're wrong, you may not feel like you're wrong right there in that moment. You may feel like they deserve exactly what you're giving them. But then later, you may realize, well, I probably shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. Or why do I feel like this? When you realize it and you admit it, then that's accountability. And you don't have to admit it to everybody. You can just admit it to yourself. That's equally as important, because, see, some of us lie to ourselves every day. Some of us can't even admit the truth to ourselves. But at the end of the day, the first road to recovery from your nefariousness, from your own nefariousness, beloveds, is to, in fact, take accountability. And you do that by owning what you have done. Ahmadiyyah said, I was really nefarious when I was young. I bet you were, beloved. That's okay. I was too. I was nefarious when I was young. I was, how could I say this? Let me see if I can think of something. An example of my own nefariousness. First of all, I used to like to fight. I used to like to fight because I was good with them paws, honey. And I used to like to fight. You say something, do something to slight me, you just might get one upside your head. Now, here's the thing. I would never start it or instigate it, but I was always ready. I was always ready. Desmond said he was an angel. Desmond, please sit down. How could you have been an angel then but a devil now? Please make it all make sense, beloved. All right? I'm calling Cap. Okay? I'm calling Cap. So with that all being said, I was always ready to rumble. Is all I'm saying. If somebody wanted to bring the smoke, well, guess what? I'm coming with the fire. That's all I'm saying. That's how I was. Okay? That's how I was, honey. All right, so let's continue. Now, you secretly hope they failed. Well, here are some other characteristics. Spiritual murderers never offer an alternative plan after pronouncing that something won't work or can't be done. They're not going to give you any other options. Look, you can't do it. It's not going to happen. You need to sit down somewhere. That's what they'll tell you. They're not going to say, well, maybe that won't work out. Or even if it doesn't, you can try this. They don't give you options. They just want you to feel like a failure, like you're just not going to be able to do it. Spiritual murderers are usually negative. They're pessimistic rather than optimistic. Now, they find fault with everything and everybody and condemn everything and everybody. They never have anything to say. Let me tell y'all something. I had this friend. Now, I was friends with this person for 3 years, and I did my very best to help motivate, encourage, and inspire them. I was always giving them good sound advice. I was always willing to listen to their problems and try to help them rise above things, and just to be there for them, as much as I could. But it got to a point where I knew that eventually I'm going to have to cut them off. But I just couldn't seem to do it. Because my heart was just like, I really want to help them. I'm really trying so hard with everything in me. But it wasn't in them. It was in me, but it wasn't in them. And you cannot want something for someone so much, more so than they want it for themselves. This person would say all kinds of things, like just crazy things. They told me one day when I'm talking to them, about problems they were encountering and things like that. And I'm trying to make them feel better. And I'm telling them, you need to pray. You need to meditate. and you need to pray and manifest. Start manifesting the things you want. Stop harping and dwelling on the things you don't want, because that's why you keep getting the same old, same old. You're sitting here talking about you're broke. You're sitting here complaining about you don't like your job. You complain about your supervisor, but yet you're not putting in applications to go work anywhere else. You're not sending out your resume. You have a whole college degree. You're not even trying to get a job in the field of your studies. And then all you do is constantly complain and gripe about the pay that you get and all of this and that. And I'm like, you need to go and pray and meditate and manifest. And then they told me that they hated God. That's what they told me. I said, do you ever have conversations with God? Because I talk to God on a regular. I said, you need to start having conversations with the Most High. God speaks to us in our spirit, our consciousness. And that person told me, they said they hate God. They said they hate God because they feel like God doesn't do anything for them. God doesn't answer their prayers. They don't even know why God put them here. That's what they told me. Now, mind you, that was nothing but the devil that's influencing them, speaking through them. This is what happens to weak-minded people. See, when your mind is strong, when you're mentally strong and you're spiritually in tune, you don't have those things happen to you as often. Now, these things, I'm not going to say the devil and his minions won't still try to attack you. They will. They absolutely will, because that's spiritual warfare. And so what they do is they try to come and attack those who are trying to do the right thing very often. But you have to know that you're under spiritual attack, and you have to know how to put on the whole armor of God and to fight the battle and to overcome these things. But this person telling me they hate God, I was so offended when they said it, but I still tried to work with them. I said, listen, you cannot get mad at God. You cannot sit here and say that God doesn't answer your prayers when you're praying for something, but saying out of your mouth that it's not going to happen. You're sending mixed messages to the universe. You see, the universe takes everything literally. How can you sit here and pray to God to help you to get better, to improve your life, but yet you're not doing any of the actions that would help to improve your own life? Don't you realize that God helps those who help themselves? You're not doing anything to improve your condition. Do you think God's just going to throw a job in your lap? Somebody's just going to call your phone magically someday and then tell you you're hired and they're giving you X amount of dollars when you didn't even go to the place, put in an application. You didn't send out one resume. All you did was sat there and complain. You wonder why your prayers aren't answered? Here's the kicker to the whole thing. In fact, you can actually answer your own prayers. You can answer your own prayers. God gives you the ability to do it yourself. Don't you realize you are a God yourself? Gods and goddesses, ye are all gods, for ye are children of the Most High. Psalm 82:6. How many times have I told you? God is not out there as some mystery man behind the clouds pulling the strings like on the Wizard of Oz. God lives within us, each of us. The Spirit of God lives in you. Like the Bible says, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Some of you all don't realize that the kingdom of heaven lives within you. So what do? You go straight to hell. That's what you do. You metaphorically go straight to hell. That means you go down into the depths of low vibrational actions, low vibrational thinking, and low vibrational speaking. But then you expect for good things to happen. How is that going to make sense? How is that going to make sense? You have to speak things into existence. Now, this person sitting there talking about God don't answer their prayers. First of all, if you're sitting here asking God to do all these things, but you're talking against it, you're already being negative before you even get the prayers out. It's not going to happen. Okay? Sometimes we're our own worst enemies. Please pay attention. Now, spiritual murderers think they know everything, no matter what subject you bring up. This is a fact. Spiritual murderers don't always come right out and tell you that they disapprove of what you're saying or doing, or what you have plans for, but they're very subtle and will say things like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" That's when they do that. You see, what they're doing is They're planting seeds of doubts in your mind. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to plant seeds of doubt. Are you sure that's going to work? You really think you can do all that? I don't know. I mean, you think so? I mean, if you say so, those type of little comments, little slick snide comments and remarks, yes, trying to plant seeds of doubt within the mind. Now, above everything else, spiritual murderers think they know what's best for you. Isn't it funny when somebody actually has the nerve, the audacity, the unmitigated gall to think they know what's best for you when you're a whole adult? Who knows what's best for you besides you? Okay, you know what's best for you because you know what you want and where you want to be. So don't let other people sit there and tell you what's best for you at the end of the day and try to dictate the narrative of your life. If they're going to try to do that, you tell them, well, let me dictate yours. Let me tell you what's best for you. And then you start laying out the groundwork and the blueprint for what's best for them. And I bet you they don't want to listen to that. But they want you to listen to their BS. Now, none of these characteristics apply to you all, does it? I'm sure some of them do. Okay, please pay attention. Now, but more than likely, you've encountered spiritual murderers in your life. Or if you haven't, trust me, you will in the future before you leave here because they're everywhere. They're running rampant. All right? They are running rampant. And so that's the characteristic of spiritual murderers. And so now that we know the characteristics of these types of devils, let's analyze why they do what they do. All right, let's talk about it. Now, I started to do all the PowerPoint, but I didn't have time for all that. You know, those PowerPoints be taking me like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes, what have you. So I just typed this all up. Real quick. Now, some spiritual murderers are motivated by love. Okay? Yeah, it's true. Now, it might sound hard to believe, but at the end of the day, some people need love and they don't have it. Okay? And when they don't have what they need, what are they? They're unhappy. They're unhappy. And, you know, sometimes it's the people closest to you. It could be a family member, friends. They're usually the ones guilty of spiritual murder. Some of them, but not all, are truly concerned about you and just, you know, don't want you to get hurt. So they encourage you to play it safe by getting a good job instead of going after the work that you feel passionate about. For example, do you all remember Laverne said, sounds like your older sister, not talking to her. Okay. Well, maybe, and hopefully you all can someday sit down and come to common ground and hash things out. You know, Queen, you do just fine, says Jonah. Thank you, beloved. Deronda says, I used to wonder why complete strangers would come up to me and start telling me about their life. And the lady told me that it was my energy that drew them near to me. Exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up, Deronda, because here's another thing that these spiritual murderers will do. Sometimes they'll be hating on you. And you may be saying to yourself, why are they hating on me? They have more money than I do. They live in a bigger house than I do. They have this, that, and the third. I don't have it. Why are they hating on me? Because like an older lady told me years ago, that sometimes people don't hate on you for material things that you possess and own. They hate on you for the very person that you are. They may be hating on you because people do come up to you out of the blue and want to share, you know, their life stories with you or ask you for advice because they do read your energy. They can feel your aura. A young lady told me just days ago when I went to the post office to check my P.O. box and get all my lovely gifts that y'all love to send me. Thank you. All right. But this young lady saw me and she asked me, she said, do you do spiritual readings? Now, I thought that was very interesting because I'm like, Lord, do I look like Miss Cleo or somebody? Why is she asking me this? I'm like, why is she asking me this? She said, she said, please don't get offended by this question I'm about to ask you. And I said, go ahead. Do you do spiritual readings? And I said, yes, I do. I said, but not with tarot cards. I don't use those. I use the regular cards that you play spades with because those cards represent the universe. Those cards have 4, and I told you all this before, for those of you who watch the videos about numerology, those cards have 4 different suits that represent winter, spring, summer, and fall. If you add up the suits of the cards, the number is 365 and a quarter. There's 365 and a quarter days in the year due to daylight savings, including daylight savings time. Every one of us is born on a specific day that matches one of the cards in that day. And based on the card that you're born under, it tells us about your traits. Okay? It tells us about your traits. Claudette said, because you glow with wisdom. Thank you, beloved. You know what the young lady told me? I asked her, I said, why would you ask me that? I said, why? I said, I do, but what made you ask me that? How did you, think that? And she said, because she could see and smell my aura. She said she could see and smell my aura. I thought that was very interesting. Dorada said, that's so true, Queen. That job that I left, the woman asked me why people always talk to me. Yeah, some people are bothered by that. That Crazy Beach Air said, Jack of Clubs. That Crazy Beach Air, sit down somewhere. Who told you I was a Jack of Clubs? I must have told you that in our consultation in one of them. But yes, I'm a Jack of Clubs. Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. Let me pull it up so you all can see it for yourselves. So y'all don't think the Queen is making this all up. Hold on, beloveds. Okay, here it is. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull up one of these websites. Okay, here we go right here. Let me go to this. I want you all to pay attention. Likes up, beloveds. Please get the likes up. Okay, so here's where we're gonna go to this one. Now I'm gonna let you all see this. Now you all know my birthday is February the 27th. Okay. Hundi says, I would recommend y'all get a consultation from the Queen. It's everything. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. Laverne said, need consultation information for myself ASAP. Okay, send me an email. The consultations are $30. Okay, they're $30 for 30 minutes. Sometimes I'll let you go over. I'll let you go over a little bit if you still needed some help. But they're $30. You can send it to my Cash App and put consultation, or you can send me an email, and then I send you the Zoom link because I do them via Zoom. Okay, so now I want you all to watch this. Pay attention. Now, can you all see that? Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger on the screen. Okay, so now let's talk about it. This is the Jack of Clubs birth card. Okay? Jack of Clubs. You must be born between sunrise. I want y'all to pay attention. Now, I'm talking about myself here. I shouldn't be telling y'all all this, putting y'all all in my business, honey. That Crazy Rich Air said, because I'm an Aries Jack of Clubs and I don't forget my kid. I know that's right. Okay, so now here's what it says. You must be born between sunrise of these dates and sunrise of the following day. Date for the Jack of Clubs are January the 29th. So if you're born on January the 29th, then you have February the 27th, which is me, March 25th, April 23rd, May the 21st, June the 19th, July the 17th, August the 15th, September the 13th, October the 11th, November the 9th, and December the 7th. That's my son. My youngest son's birthday is December the 7th, and he is just like his mother because he is a Jack of Clubs. We have the same characteristics, and we're both so spiritually in tune with one another that we can literally read one another's minds. I'm not even joking. We can read one another's minds. I know what he's thinking at certain times. He knows what I'm thinking. Sometimes I'll say exactly what he was thinking before he says it, and he does the same to me. Jack of Clubs are spiritual people and very intuitive. Please pay attention. Now, here's what it says. For the Jack of Clubs birth card, it is time to be very busy. It is a time for ambition, experimenting with knowledge and different types of work. Jacks always have a lot of energy to begin something new. You're a person that can recognize something with tremendous potential. Something needs to get done here. That's what we'll say. It is important to find It is important to find the work that you're excited about, that you're inspired by. The work that you do must be right for you. You're here to bring out something unique and new in regard to your career, your social contacts, and your knowledge. Learn something new, and from there, develop it to a unique body of knowledge or a unique job that no one else has thought of before. You will live a constant stream of self-discovery in regards to what you want to learn and what your work is. Jack of Clubs birth card is adept at attracting the right contacts to make what they want to do in life viable. This card can experiment with a lot of different careers and have a lot of fun doing so. This is a very individualized time for work to emerge, for your work to emerge out of you. Now, this is just like basically telling me, about specific times of the year. What things are going to be happening for me at specific times of the year. But let's talk about, what does the Jack of Clubs mean spiritually? It says the Jack of Clubs can represent a change in new and existing relationships. You can see it as a good omen if you're looking for love. The Jack of Clubs could indicate that you're about to meet someone new in an existing relationship. Your partner may be out to pop the question. Don't tell me that. Now, the Jack of Clubs personality, it can represent someone who is rash, but is willing to take on challenges to achieve goals in work situations. A great person to have on your team. Y'all need to pay attention to that part, honey. A great person to have on your team. In personal situations, one to have on your side, okay? That's why I always tell people, look both ways before you cross the queen. Now, this person doesn't want to talk things out. They just want to get on with things, so they could be impatient as often as not. This is all true. This is all true, honey. I don't have time to tarry. I don't have time to tarry. I like to do it. I don't want to talk about it. I want to be about it. I don't want to sit here and, twiddle my thumbs and all of that about, well, what am I going to do? How's this going? No, I'm all about solutions. I'm not about excuses. I need solutions. That's what I'm all about. That crazy bitch Eric said, that's right. Okay. Laverne said, what if you don't know time of birth? At the end of the day, beloved, if I have your birth date, I can tell you what your birth card is. Okay. Now, if you want to find out what your birth card is and what it means about your personality and all of that, you can just simply have a consultation with the queen, and I will gladly break it on down for you for a small fee of $30. And this ain't no wig, hoodoo, voodoo, BS. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, I digress. So let me continue. So our spiritual murderers have their own agenda. You see, they want you to abandon your dreams to help them fulfill their own. Still, other spiritual murderers feel that there are causes bigger than both of you that you should commit your life to, whether you believe in them or not. Now, you can protect yourself from spiritual murderers. And how do you do that? Well, keep your dreams away from them. See, my grandmother used to always tell me, and she used to tell all of us, don't tell people your plans before you do it. Now, I'm going to tell you all like this. I'm going to tell you all this. That crazy bitch Eric said the queen is accurate, on point with her consultations. Thank you, beloved. All right, Hundia is a 5 of diamonds. That's right, because I did a consultation for Hundia last week. And Hundia is, in fact, a 5 of diamonds. And here's the thing. It's very important to know what birth card you're born under, because once you have this information, then you start to realize why you behave in certain ways about certain situations, why you think certain thoughts, why you like certain things and don't like certain things and don't like certain people, why you're drawn to certain people. You start to understand and realize all of those things. For example, my birth number is a number 1. All my life since a child, I have always hated to lose. I refuse to lose. I'm very competitive. I am, in fact, a sore loser. I always want to be number 1. I always want to come in first. I always want to be 2 steps ahead. And that's because later on I found out, because I'm a number 1. Number 1s, we just don't like to lose. That's just what it is. That's why you need us on your team. And my boyfriend always tells me that if there was a war, if there was a battle, he always wants me to be in charge, because he says my mind is so sharp and I'm so quick-witted. you know, and things just automatically come to me. Another thing is, me and him went to a lecture years ago. We went to this lecture, and the guy was talking about different personality traits, how he was saying some people are thinkers, and some people are socializers, and some people are directors. Now, some of us are all of the above, because I am, but the one that is the most prominent and dominant in your personality is the one that you should define yourself as. So I was defined as a director. You see, that's why I like to give orders. That's why I like to give instruction. That's why I go about doing things a certain way. And it's always very interesting when you find out these different things about yourself. Okay? Nancy X said, your birth number is a 1-2. Okay. All right. So you know how the queen feels about losing. December's is a 3. All right. Khalees said, can you tell me these things about myself? I absolutely can, beloved. Like I told you, send me an email, or you can send the $30 to my Cash App and put consultation. Make sure you put consultation, so I don't think it's just a donation, but I know it's for a consultation. And then I'll get in touch with you about a time. I'll email you about a time that I have available, and then we can set it up, and then I send you the Zoom link. Okay? That Crazy Beach Era said she's a 3 as well. Okay? So with that all been said, you need to know these things about yourself. If you have questions about yourself, these are the answers. It's very important to study astrology and numerology. And you know, a lot of time people that are in the church, they'll tell us that that's occult and that we shouldn't be doing it. Occult knowledge is nothing more than hidden knowledge. That's what the word occult literally means. Hidden knowledge. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. Now, if you out here doing black magic and all kind of BS, now I'm not talking about any of that. We'll leave that for wig. But when you're trying to learn things to elevate yourself and raise your levels of consciousness, that's occult knowledge too. I call it esoteric knowledge, okay? Esoteric information. And when you know these things, and here's the thing, I've told you all numerous of times that this is all in the Bible. The Bible talks about numerology and astrology. It's all throughout the Bible from the beginning to the middle to the end. So when these people are telling you that you shouldn't be dabbling in it, they do not know what they are talking about because they do not understand the Bible. Some of these people in church don't even read the Bible until they go to church on Sunday, and then the pastor says, open your Bibles to Psalm 91. And then the pastor starts reading it to them, and then they go by his interpretation. But the Bible says, study to show thyself approved. You see, you should not let the pastor just tell you what the interpretation of the scripture means. You have to know it for yourself. And you do that by studying and having an open mind, because everything in there is not to be taken literally. These are allegorical stories. If you go to the public library, the Bible is in fact found in the fiction section. Okay? That's for a reason. Now, likes up, everyone, please get those likes up. And by the way, there's another video premiering at 5:45. This is a replay, and if you missed it, it's going to be replaying at 5 o'clock. Okay? It's about the metaphysical meaning of heaven and hell. You need to understand this. So if you missed it, please watch that video at 5:45 or just whenever you get time. Okay? Now, when you have a success along the journey, hold on, no, I missed the part, hold on. Okay, like I was saying, don't tell people about your plans. These people that are spiritual murderers, and you'll know who they are because they're the haters, the naysayers, the doubting Thomases, the negative Nancys, those people, the ones that kill your dreams and kill your spirit, those people. So don't tell them what you're planning, what you're up to. You don't have to stop speaking to them or treat them in an unkind way, but when it comes to the fulfillment of your dreams, stay away from the subject. Okay? Talk about sports. Talk about things in general. Let me tell you something. I was talking to my uncle. Hold on. The queen has a way of making things easy and interesting to learn. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. That's what I always try to do, because some people don't like to learn if it's boring, you know, if it's just sounds like something they don't want to listen to, if it sounds tedious and all that. So yes, when I teach my college students, I always try to make it entertaining, interesting, and fun. Now, so here's the thing. I was talking to my uncle recently. And I was telling him about something that I want to do, something that's on my bucket list that I want to try. I'm not going to tell you all what it is just yet, but I told my uncle, and not because I think you all going to steal the idea. I have to make sure that I'm actually going to do it first. I have my mind all set for it, and I want to get it in order, but I'm definitely going to tell you all. But nevertheless, I was speaking to my uncle, and I told him my plans. The very thing my grandmother and his mother told us not to do. But I told him my plans. And I was telling him, well, you know, I'm going to do this. I'm looking forward to doing this. I'm going to embark on this or whatever. I'm going to try this out. Next thing I know, he was calling me every day. Well, did you do this? Did you do that? And I'm like, no, you don't have to keep asking me. I'll let you know. And then now all of a sudden he wants to do the same thing. Please sit down somewhere. Now all of a sudden he wants to do the same thing. You see, that's what I'm talking about. People will try to copy. They will try to just do things before you do it. At the end of the day, those people are spiritual murderers and haters. Please pay attention. And some of them are sadly in our own families. Some of them are in our own families. So just talk to them about sports, the weather, things in general. Don't talk to them about your personal dreams and goals and ambitions. Okay? When you have success along the journey to reaching your goal, share it with the spiritual murderer if they get in your face. Because the last thing they want is to hear about your success. You see, a person who doesn't wish you well, to know that you are being successful really kills their spirit, okay? But keep your failures to yourself. No sense in giving them ammunition to use against you. Honey, because that's what some people will absolutely do, honey. You confide in people and tell them stuff, and sometimes it backfires. Remember the story I told you all maybe a year or so ago? I was telling you about this friend that I had one time that was always willing to listen when I had bad news. When I'm going through something, trials and tribulations, when I'm feeling down or depressed, and I would come to them, they always had an ear to listen, but not to help me to feel better. They'd always make it worse. They said, well, you know it's going bad, right? You know this is going to happen, right? They would say all sorts of things, but then when I have good news, they never had time to listen. Never. I don't have time to hear all that. They don't want to hear my good news, honey, but they got time to listen to the bad news. I'm telling you, those are haters, those are spiritual murderers, and those are people who do not wish you well. And when you tell them your failures, all they do is use it against you later and make you feel worse. They're not here to make you feel better, to have you to be a shoulder for you to lean on. All right, they just want to be all up in your business so they can just tell you something to make it even worse. So please pay attention to that. Now, keep your failures to yourself. No sense in giving them ammunition to use against you. And if you don't have any success that you can yet point to, think seriously about what you can say to the spiritual murderer if they confront you. You may want to be honest and tell them that you need to be around positive people and hear positive things because it will take a lot of energy to reach your goals. If they can't say something positive, then they don't say it, and if they don't say anything to you, well, that should tell you everything you need to know right there. Okay, that will tell you everything you need to know right there. Okay, you just don't want to hear the truth in some cases, right? Sometimes we look at people through rose-colored glasses. Sometimes we don't see people for who they really and truly are. We have a fanciful reality about these people. We think that they're this way and they're really that way. We don't want to see the truth of them because it hurts our feelings, makes us feel bad. And sometimes we're just plain in denial. So with that all being said, I'm going to show you all a couple of videos that I picked out. Laverne said, I make dessert and sell. My so-called friends have never supported me. Isn't that low down? Isn't that low down? They have never supported you. Those, yeah, that's right, so-called friends. Okay, because let me tell you all something. Claudette said, sounds like her sister-in-law, okay? This is all crazy. Honey said, I had a cuz that I told them an idea for a music video, and she did it in a music video. Honey, I'm telling you, yeah, she did it in a music video. See, stealing your ideas. That's why you cannot tell people what you're going to do until you do it. After you do it, then tell them. That's what my grandmother told us. After you do it, then tell them, because people are low down and nefarious. And sometimes people don't have ideas of their own because they have no authenticity about themselves, no originality, of no original thoughts and ideas. And so they look for people that they can copy, mimic, and steal from. Kathy B said, I'm very supportive of my friends and family. That's good, beloved. Okay, that Crazy Beach Air said, thieves, Sundia. Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to show you all some videos. Laverne said, haters. I've been doing it for 10 years. That's awful. Now, if you want to promote your business, Laverne, please send me the information to the root of all evil 227 at gmail.com, because you know I'll be shouting out Black-owned businesses, beloved. And that goes for any of the rest of you. And here's the thing. Now, you need to ask yourself, if someone is supposed to be your friend and they don't support your business, please don't tell them your business. Please don't tell them anything personal, and feed them off a long-handled spoon. And by that, I mean this. You don't have to cut them off. You can still be cool and cordial with them, but don't just be all around them all the time, calling them every day, talking to them on such a regular basis. You have to handle these people from a distance because they're not wishing you well. People who are really your friends support you in your endeavors. If they know you have a business, they'll try to support you. That's what they do. That's what friends are for. My friend also cooks, makes desserts, makes whole meals. You know, you can call her and order food from her. She'll bring it to you. She's a caterer. She does events and all of those things. I promote her. You know, I send her clientele. At the end of the day, I buy food from her. Okay, so, and not just for myself, for other people. But that's what you do. You support people. Some people are low down, honey. They're never going to support you. And that's all because they just hate you. They're just waiting for your downfall. And I'm going to tell you something. It's 2024 and all things hidden are being exposed and revealed. Now, some of us have some people we need to cut off. And I started telling you all about this person and I got off track. But I was telling you all about this person who I just couldn't get rid of because I just refused to. This person who was in fact talking about they hate God and God's not helping them and all this, that, and the third. Let me tell you something. God took that person out of my life. God took that person out of my life. I didn't have to cut them off, honey, because they cut me off. They sure did, honey. They cut me off and blocked me. Pay attention. I mean, the nerve of them. I was a good friend to them, and they cut me off and blocked me, honey. Please pay attention. Hold on for a second, beloveds. Okay, so yes. So I heard my door open, honey. I had to mute it for a second to make sure that was Reno. But so they blocked me and cut me off. Now, here's the thing. They got mad because I told them I was going to do something for them, and I had all the intentions of doing so. But then something came up, and I couldn't do it. And I called them, and I told them, I apologize. I can't do it right now, but if you give me a couple of weeks, I can do it. Oh, they got mad. Honey, they cut the queen off. They sure did, and blocked me on Twitter. I find it all so nefarious because at the end of the day, you know what? At first, I was sad. I was hurt. My little feelings was hurt, and I was sad for days. I was sad for days, honey. But then, you know what? The Most High, I sat down and had a talk with the Most High, and the Most High said, why are you sitting here feeling sad? Why are you upset? This person had a season in your life. And now that season has passed. This person has never encouraged you. This person has only discouraged you. This person has always been negative. This person doesn't love what you love and who you love, which is the Most High. Pay attention. And this person needs to be away from you. You're going into a new year, and you can't do that doing the same things you did last year. This is a whole nother year. You have a whole nother choice and a whole nother chance, and you need to make the best of it. So I took that person. I removed them out of your way. So that's what happens. See, sometimes we have such a habit of trying to hold on to the very things or the very people that God is trying to remove from our lives. And see, God had to do that. God had to let that person, get that person to cut me off, because I wasn't going to cut them off. Because see, I'm always too busy trying to help other people. And sometimes it's to my own detriment. sometimes it's to my own detriment. So the Most High was like, you know what? You can't cut them off. Well, I'm going to get them to cut you off and block you. And that's what they did. So once I had that talk with the Most High, I didn't worry about that person anymore. Now I don't care if I never hear from them again, honey. At the end of the day, their time is over. All right, Kathy B said, I'm learning that one cause I'm sensitive. You're learning that because you're sensitive. Right? It's okay to be sensitive. I'm sensitive too in some cases. All right? But here's the thing about it. In order for me to be sensitive or for a person to hurt my feelings, you have to first be someone I care about. People that I don't care about, you're irrelevant. Okay? These people that be coming in on my chat, you know, talking crazy and just saying little silly stuff or whatever, I don't have a problem roasting them because, first of all, you're irrelevant. I don't know you like that, okay? Now, my loyal royals, y'all know I love y'all, but every now and then we get somebody in the chat trying to act like they're a loyal royal on the other channel, and then after just watching some of the comments they post, we already figure out who they really are. Those people, I don't care what they think. Who are they? Who are they? All right? So, but you have to be careful about these things. Now, I'm going to play some videos for you all. Everyone, please get those likes up. Okay, here we go.
Listen to this.
This is how you know you're the chosen one. And no, everybody is not selected to be a chosen one. Chosen one is a person that's really pretty much selected on this planet to handle certain assignments. Pretty much like help people. You know what I mean? Like help other chosen ones to be healed or just other people that just got lost in the matrix type shit. Like to know that you're a chosen one, like your childhood, 9 out of 10, your childhood was pretty much difficult growing up. May have abandonment issues. Like you feel like you're being overlooked by your family. You never really fit in. You're mad different from your siblings. Like you see things and new things other people didn't. There's always something about you people don't like about you, but it's never a reason why they don't like you. Growing up, you always get hurt by the people you try to help. You're always considered as like you're weird or you're crazy. You like being alone because you feel like you can't relate to people. Bugs and animals vibrated to you. Like even if you're scared of them, like they have this type of, you have this type of energy with them that nobody could like understand. As more you grow and you turn into an adult, you become more quiet. You become isolated. You really don't deal with people much. You learn to love from a distance because you can't play fake. You attract strangers no matter where you go. You always under attack, even if you staying out the way and you trying to do everything right. People always try to feel dim in your light, but always feel to do so. No matter how hard life gets you, you always bounce back through anything. That's how you know you're the chosen one. Wake up.
That's nothing but facts. And let me just tell you all this. At the end of the day, people who go through the biggest struggles have, you know, pain and have just, you know, been mistreated and different things like that. Those people are the chosen ones, okay? And the reason is because God gives his toughest battles to the strongest soldiers, okay? That's how that works. See, here's the thing. I want you to pay attention. You know how sometimes there are people who really haven't been through anything, and then so they can't relate to what you've been through because they never had struggles. They never had, you know, a bad upbringing as a child. Everything was given to them. They were spoiled. They always got what they wanted. I thought Hundia said no sound. I was looking at my mic. Okay, it sounds like you all the way. Okay, Hundia sounds like me too. All right, Nancy X said my mama used to call me her weird child. My mother used to call me a witch. My mother used to call me a witch. And I know I've told you all this before. Okay, my mother took me to church for the pastor to pray over me because she said I was a witch. Now, why would she say her child was a witch? Well, because at a young age, I had spiritual gifts that I was in tune with. I believe everyone has spiritual gifts, but everyone is not in tune with them. But when I was a child, I used to predict things. I would have dreams and I tell my mother, I dreamt this was going to happen. And then it would happen. I would tell my mother, sometimes I'd have premonitions and visions. And I would say things are going to happen. And they would. And my mother, and if it was something bad that I would say it's going to happen and that actually happened, she would say that I wished for it to happen. Oh, you wished that on me. I didn't wish anything. I was just telling the truth of what I knew. And so she took me to church and had the pastor Reverend French at Oak Grove Baptist Church. She had him pray over me. And he told her, he prayed over me, but he told her, he prayed for me to always have discernment with my gifts. And he told her that I had spiritual gifts and that I was prophetic. Now, mind you, at the time, I think I was like 9 years old. I didn't know what any of what he was saying was, but I always remembered those words: spiritual gifts, prophetic. I remembered those words. And so I knew that when she was calling me a witch, that's not what I was. I knew that I was prophetic. Okay, that's what I knew. Clairvoyance, those type of things. I was always interested in things that some people would find strange. Remember, I told you all the story about being a child and I was trying to practice telekinesis in my room at the age of 10. And my mother walked in the room and she said, "What are you doing, girl?" And I said, "I'm trying to make this telephone book move with my mind." And she was like, "You're crazy." Now, you remember those big, heavy, yellow page telephone books? Yeah, I had the book opened and I had it sitting on the table in my room and I was just glaring at it. I was trying so hard to make a page flip or just anything, but I was trying to do that with my mind. Now, as a 10-year-old child, why would I be doing that? How did I know about telekinesis? Well, I didn't. I didn't know that's what it was called. I just knew that I had an urge to try to move it with my mind. That crazy bitch Eric said, "Mama wasn't trying to listen." No, she wasn't. She absolutely wasn't. Ahmadiyyah said, "Thank you for the confirmation." You're welcome, beloved. Now, with that all being said, let's go to the next video. Now, this clip, for those of you who are the higher frequency members, you'll recall that this is what I spoke about in our last master class. I went very in depth in this, but this young man gives a 3.5 minute video talking about it. Remember what I told you all about April the 8th of 2024, for those of you with the higher frequency memberships.
Now, I know that there are a million videos on TikTok, social media, and YouTube that talk about this. Very, very good information. But one thing that I want to give you from a biblical perspective is that Jesus said, the testimony of 2 men is true, right? So now we know that this second eclipse, we already know that 3 have already happened, right? Paul said, out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. So these eclipses, these solar eclipses, are testimonies and witnesses against America, right? The final witness is coming April 8th, 2024. Now we know almost 40 some odd days into this year, it has been one hell of a year. Now this is not to scare you, but this is to get you to be prepared. This is not to scare you, but to prepare you. That's my new saying. This is not to scare you, but to prepare you. Do not think that anything is going to get better. Do not think that anything is going to get more prosperous as far as worldly things go. Yeah, you can get prosperous spiritually, which I implore you to do. But these feast days that are coming up, with Passover coming up, is not a coincidence. Now you got to remember, in the Old Testament, when the death angels were getting ready to come to establish God's judgment, God told us to put blood on our doors, right? Well, I mean, on our houses, right? But now that the Son of God has come, we have to understand is that we are not to put blood on our homes. We are to pray over our homes, but to cover ourselves with the blood of Christ. See, you got to understand, God doesn't dwell in temples made by man's hands. He dwells in us, okay? We don't belong to ourselves. The house that he wants us to cover ourselves with, to cover the blood with, is to cover our bodies, to cover our souls. Now, those of you that are in the know, we do know that the day of the Lord is coming. We also know the Lord said, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. We are not to desire the day of the Lord because we all have some spiritual cleaning to do, some physical cleaning to do with ourselves. But one thing we are hastening is the return of the Lord. So we have to understand is that these things have to happen. These things are coming to pass. Earthquakes are coming. More monolithic earthquakes are coming. San Andreas Fault, which you see on the West Coast, is coming. California will be into the belly of the Pacific. The San Andreas Fault line will split America in half. The mighty Mississippi is flowing towards the south. But once the New Madrid Fault line splits, it will create a big gash in America. Okay? you have to understand is that there is a map that actually the United States military has that has the new way, the new form of what America will look like. They know about God's judgment. They know it's coming. All high-ranking Freemasons know about this. All aristocrats, all elites. The angels know about God's judgment, and most of all, Satan knows about God's judgment. But last but not least, you need to know what's coming. So pay attention. All three eclipses, which the last one is coming on April 8th, are witnesses against America, accusing America. These are the signs of the times, y'all. Be blessed. And this is not to scare you, but to prepare you. Facts over feelings. Sorry, not sorry. Jesus said expose them. Be blessed.
Okay, so and like I said, if you're a higher frequency member and you didn't see that masterclass, please go back and watch, because I went into very much detail about all of what he's talking about. All right, y'all better get ready is all I'm saying, honey. Spiritual warfare is upon us. All right, and there is no escape. America is going down. America has done so much dirt. And did they think that they would just continue to get away with it? Absolutely not. If they did, they were mistaken. Now, here's the next video.
When I say spiritually dead, I literally mean like you're walking around and operating as something that is not you at all. Like you're so numb inside and so disassociated with life to the point where you're walking around like a zombie. Like you don't want to pray. You don't want to read the Bible. You don't want to, like, your spirit is dead. And it does not mean it can't be resurrected. It does not mean that it can't come back to life. It just means that you're really detached from it at this moment. And there's a spirit attached to that. I'm not sure of the name, but there's spirits attached to everything. So the fact that you don't want to read your Bible, the fact that you don't want to pray, the fact that you're feeling down and like out of tune and out of whack, there's a spirit connected to that. So if you are feeling like this, because I know that this is not, more people will see this comment. So if you're feeling spiritually dead, you don't want to pick up your Bible, you don't want to read your Bible, you don't want to pray over yourself, you don't even want to get like in nature or really just go get in tune with yourself, pray for deliverance. Get into deep meditation. Force yourself to do it. You're not going to always feel uppity. You're not going to always feel like doing it. And that's because you're fighting spiritual warfare. So make sure that you are combating spiritual warfare with the proper tools, which is the Bible, which is the word of God, which is it's written. You have dominion. So you can tell a spirit to leave you. So if you are feeling spiritually dead, you need to rebuke that spirit by saying, look, it is written, I have dominion. So anything that is not of God, anything that is trying to keep me down, anything that is trying to keep me spiritually deaf or spiritually out of tune or out of whack, you must leave me right now in the mighty name of Jesus. I cover myself and bind you in the blood of Jesus. You must go back from which you came. Rebuke it. And whatever you believe in, whatever you choose to use, apply it to yourself. I'm a Christian, so I go by that. I'm a follower of Christ. That's what Christian means. So I go by that. I say Yahweh. I say Yeshua. I say the Most High, our source. I say all of that. But I'm a Christian, okay? Spiritual mind, but I have a home base in Christianity. So whenever I'm going through spiritual deadness or I'm just like I'm being attacked, that's what I do, because demons have to flee at that name. But apply this to your life in the way that you live. So that's what I mean by spiritually dead. Like you can be so out of tune and out of whack with yourself to the point where you walk around like a zombie and you're not in tune with nothing. Like you just not in tune. You don't even hear Holy Spirit. Like you don't even hear your intuition or your inner voice. And sometimes you're not going to always hear Holy Spirit because sometimes you're being tested. You've been left with a word, and you need to stay faithful in order to hear your next instruction. You can't keep receiving instructions you haven't even followed the last one. So God will test you. But that's where spiritual discernment comes in, so that you'll know what you're going through and experiencing. So definitely strengthen your spirit and stay in repetition as far as reading your Bible and strengthening your spiritual relationship with God, so that you know if you're spiritually dead or if you're just being tested.
Okay, so that describes the person that I was telling you all about, the person that cut me off, honey. Pay attention. They were spiritually dead. They didn't want to read their Bible. They didn't want to have conversations with the Most High. They said they hated the Most High. And the reason they would likely hate the Most High is because they, quite frankly, hated themselves. Okay, and so I'm better off without them. Though I still feel sorry for them, I hope that they find their way, because right now they're on a path to destruction. Okay, and I have sat there and watched them engage in destructive behavior. And I've tried to change their mind, but they won't. Yes, it is sad, Claudette. It absolutely is. Okay, Jonah says that's why we're in hell. We're in hell, and meaning trouble. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so let's go to the next video.
If the thought of your own death isn't horrifying enough, consider that scientists are now saying that you actually will be aware that you're dead for up to 20 seconds. For several decades, scientists have been studying people who claim to have near-death experiences. Whether you believe them or not, they're studying them and finding out more about what actually happens in the brain as death takes over. Approximately 5% of dying patients and 10% of cardiac arrest patients describe having near-death experiences where they float above their bodies, they see a white light, they travel through a tunnel, they see lost loved ones. Some people say that this proves that there is an afterlife, and other people say that it proves that there's something neurological going on. So scientists have been studying rats. They stopped their hearts and checked their brain waves and found that their brain was flooded with a ton of electrical current. Some people think that that explains the white light and the tunnel and the falling and the sort of psychedelic experiences that happen to people, but there is no proof because obviously we don't know what a rat is seeing in their mind. Having a near-death experience is there's a chemical reaction going on in your brain. Some people have attributed it to what they call DMT. There is no proof that the levels of DMT in your brain actually increase at the point of death. But they have done research comparing the experiences of people who've had near-death experiences and people who've had psychedelic trips on ketamine or on DMT, and they find that they are quite similar, and the word that people most often use to describe these things is reality, which is interesting. What we do know is that at the point of death, there's a huge surge of neural activity in your brain. Whether or not we know that we're dead is not 100% certain, but there are many people who have had near-death experiences and have heard their own death announced by a surgeon or by a family member, which is pretty fucking wild and I think absolutely terrifying.
Please pay attention. What do you all think about that? Do you think that people know that they're dead? I absolutely think that they do. Because when the body dies, our consciousness still exists. Okay? Our consciousness still exists. So moving on to the next video.
Here, sir.
Okay, you all saw that, right? You heard what he said. Hold on. Hold on, I'm returning a text real quick, beloveds. Okay, now here's one more. I'm going to show that one last. Let me go to this other one. Okay, let me go to this other one, and then they got one more after this.
These are signs that you should not ignore, because whenever you have any of these two signs, it is actually to tell you that you are about to die. Yes. Now, the first thing you should know is that if death is about to come from God, now God has the right, the power to take somebody when it is time. If the death is coming from God, you will not experience these signs. Yes, because God is the owner of the body and the spirit. And the only thing God needs after you die is your spirit. Your flesh is just sand. God has no use for it. But now, if a human being like you wants to kill you, if the powers from your father's house, mother's house wants to destroy you, the first thing they do is to begin to cage your spirit. Because your spirit has to be caged for your body to die. But then the spirit is stronger than the body. Your spirit as a human being is stronger than your flesh as a human being. Now, even though they try to chain your spirit, hold your spirit down so that they can destroy the body, your spirit will still find a way to tell you that you are about to die. Now, these are two ways for your spirit to tell you something is about to happen to you. Now, the first one is that you will notice that your legs will begin to die. When I say your legs will begin to die, you will begin to notice that whenever you stand, it's as if your legs don't have strength in them anymore. It's as if they are shaky. You begin to feel this pain that you cannot understand from your legs. Now, it becomes difficult for your leg to carry your body. The first thing you should know is that before your flesh dies, your legs will begin to die. Like, this is the first part you will notice. And this is when the death is coming from a human being like you. Now, the second thing is that you begin to perceive things that you should not perceive. You begin to perceive like something is rotten, and you are the only one to perceive it. No matter where you are, no matter how clean the place is, your nose is going to be telling you that something is rotten. Well, what is actually getting rotten is your body. Your nose is just telling you what is about to happen. So whenever you notice any of these two signs, don't just say, it's just happening for no reason. Don't just relax. That is the time for you to begin to pray. That is the time for you to control what enters your mouth, because you don't know the way it's going to happen. It can come from poison. It can come from gunshot. It can come in any way, but your body is just trying to tell you that you are about to die, and that death is not God's will. That death is not from God. If death is coming from God, you will not notice anything. You will just lay down on your bed and go. God does not have the time to chain your spirit, cage your spirit, because he is the owner of the spirit. He is the owner of the body. So he will just take you peacefully. But if the death is coming from a human being like you, if it is coming from evil powers, that is when your spirit will begin to speak to you. And so do not ignore the signs, because your spirit is trying to tell you something. These are signs that you should not.
All right. I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention, because that's absolutely true. The Crazy Beach Air says, thank you for empowering and inspiring us to be our best everyday queen. We love you. And I love you, All Right Black. Thank you, beloved. Thank you for your contribution and your kind words. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, what the young lady was saying, I absolutely believe that, because here's the thing. We were just talking today on the other channel about Left Eye and Aaliyah. Both of them had premonitions of their death. So, and we do believe, or most of us probably believe, that someone, there are some people wanted them out of here and used some sort of witchery nonetheless to get them out of here. Okay. And at the end of the day, they could feel it. They knew it. They had a forethought. Okay. So they could sense that something was going to happen at the end of the day. Now, for people who leave this world under mysterious circumstances and things like that, very often they will talk about, impending danger, or having dreams of death, or dreams of being chased by spirits and things like that. Absolutely. But when someone dies peacefully in their sleep, or just dies from an illness, I want you to pay attention, because very often they don't say anything about having any sort of premonition. They don't talk about having any sort of dreams pertaining to them leaving here, because they still have hope in some cases, but because in some cases, it's simply time for them to go. And when it's time for you to go, there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. And the Most High is just going to take you out of here because it's time for you to leave. You should not fear death. In fact, death is nothing more than an illusion as far as I'm concerned, because while the avatar, or this shell that encases our spirit, when this goes back to the dust from whence it came, the spirit, the soul, continues to live on in a whole nother realm. So is there really a death? I don't think that death is the end. I think it's simply a new beginning, a new reality in a different realm of existence. And that's how you should see it. And when you can learn to see it and perceive it that way, you will no longer fear death. But I absolutely believe that some people have these premonitions because they can sense that there's this negative energy, something nefarious coming for them. All right? And the Most High doesn't give us a spirit of fear. So you would not be feeling that way when the Most High just, knows it's time for you to go. The Prince of Paraphernalia said, yes, that was deep, Queen. Thank you, beloved. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to play this last video. And I'm playing this video because I want you to realize and recognize demons when you see them. Some of us don't recognize demons, but yet some of us are also in the midst of demons on a regular basis. Some of us entertain demons and we don't even know it. Some of us are, in fact, in relationships, whether friendships or a serious relationship, a marriage or whatever. Some of us are in relationships with whole demons, and you may not recognize it. But see, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you how you can recognize it. So these demonic, malevolent spirits that take over people, in some cases, they will do things that shock people. Shock value is what I call it. They do things that you can't believe. They engage in acts of perversion very often. Okay. They commit heinous acts, depraved acts that will take a depraved mindset very often. This is what these things do, but you can look at them. And another thing is they'll use a whole bunch of profanity and vulgarities when speaking. That's just what these demons do. I happen to think that Tourette's syndrome is nothing more than demons. And if it were not so, if it were just some simple form of mental illness, why is it that the people that blurt out these random things always are saying something nefarious? Why are they always spewing vulgarities and profanities? Never blurting out anything nice? Y'all don't find that suspicious? I absolutely believe that it is the work of demons. Now, another thing, you can tell demons by the smell. They smell like sulfur. They may smell like rotten eggs, dirty mop water, feces. These are what demonic entities and malevolent spirits smell like, because they're unclean spirits. They're low vibrational spirits and entities. And you have to be able to recognize them when they're in your presence, because they can be very detrimental to you otherwise. You have to recognize them so that you can put on the full armor, the whole armor of God, so that you can prepare yourself to do battle with these demons, because otherwise they will try to overtake you. Okay, now with that all being said, I want you to look at this video clip of Eileen Wuornos. If you don't know who Eileen Wuornos is, she was a serial killer that lived in Tampa, Florida. Okay, she was out here murdering men. She was a prostitute, and she would get these Johns, and then she would kill them and rob them and all these things. They ended up executing her, of course. But this is a clip of her speaking in court, and you can tell that she's a whole demon. Look into her eyes. A person who has a demon within them has a lot of malevolent and negative energy. Well, their eyes will often look black, like you're looking into a dark pit. Eyes like a shark. They say the eyes are the mirrors to the soul. This is absolutely true. So when you're looking into the soul of someone who has demons, this is what you'll see right here. So please pay attention.
Okay, guys, so this one right here is another video just really showcasing the demon that's manifesting through this lady. She had murdered some people and she got executed in the end. But I just wanted to bring awareness to how real demons are. Some people would look at this and say, oh, it's drugs or it's mental illness and things of that nature. But guys, I just want you to know that behind every mental illness, behind every drug influence are demons. So if demons are real, Jesus Christ is even more real. So just know that, guys. Unfortunately, people go through demonic bondage like this here.
All right, so absolutely. Okay, demons are very real. Now, I don't think I played this video yet. Hold on, let me see real quick. If I didn't play it, I'm going to go ahead and do so. When I pull it up, I may have already played it. I'm not sure.
But before that day comes, there are signs. And it's quite unusual that some people, they say, I didn't have a sign before I died. Everyone has a sign before they died. Everyone. But these signs are different. They come in various forms. Some people have immediate signs of death before they die, such as illness, such as even spiritual feelings. Others, they don't have any of these signs. It just hits them like that. But the signs I'm talking about is time. Time. As time progresses, as you grow in age, you're actually getting smaller in age. And therefore, time is one of the signs. Age is another. White hair is another. And the Prophet ﷺ said, everything has a cure except for two things. Al-maut wal-haram. Death and age, old age. There's no cure for old.
All right. So please pay attention. There is no soul in that thing we were looking at on our screen. Exactly. Prince of Paraphernalia says she has Bugs Bunny teeth. Okay, I have to agree. And it was nefarious. Laverne says, like Mark Zuckerberg's eyes, no soul. Exactly. Bill Gates too, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast, but I hope you all got something out of this. Okay, I hope you all know, if you didn't before, how to recognize spiritual murderers. These people who will absolutely kill your spirit, steal your hopes, dreams, and ambitions and goals, and try to stop you and hinder you from elevating and accelerating past them. Because remember, as I've always told you, some people, they love you. They're your biggest fan when you're on the same level as them. But you know what they say, new levels bring new devils. And so once you start excelling past them and you're doing things different, well, that causes some envy in some people that you thought or think are your friends. And when you see that, you need to move accordingly. I'm not saying cut them off, but at the end of the day, you need to know how to handle them. Know who you can't trust and know who's for you and who's against you. And don't be telling everybody your business all willy-nilly, especially your failures, because they will simply come back later and use it absolutely against you to make you feel bad about yourself. Nessa X says, yes, Queen, thank you. You're welcome, beloved. Okay, Hundia says, I surely did get a lot out of this teaching. Thank you, my queen. You're welcome, beloved. Jonah says, thank you. You're all welcome. I love you all to life. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. We will be live again tomorrow, okay? We will be live again tomorrow. And let me tell you all something. On the other channel tomorrow, we're going to talk about this lady. This lady did a whole series of videos about her no good husband. She said, who the F did I marry? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that tomorrow on the main channel, okay? So everyone be prepared. Kathy B says, thank you so much, Queen. You're welcome, beloved. All right, so I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives.